Yeah, we bring reviews of your house, talk to our dudes of your house. I bring my views of your house, wrestling truths of your house. We talk to you in your house, we keeps it cool in your house, we keeps it cool in your house. I'm spitting truths in your house. Yeah. Mark's hating on his fans, Becky's niche on the man. Play with two like a lion, household a dangerous alliance. I am a nightmare like Cody, and I'm overcoming like Kobe. No, they cannot hold me. Come listen, I'm hosting, critiquing, I'm boasting. This wrestling I'm knowing. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to In Your House, starring Alakan House and my man, Michael Hutchison. That's Mikey Hutch. This is the People's Podcast. Haha. Hey guys, you already know who it is. It's your boys, Cayne and Hutch, ready to give you that work. When it comes to this professional wrestling business, that is what we do, and hey, we love it. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's alright. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, we can get to you in. Ooh, where is the clock? I'm checking the time because last time that I checked, In Your House was the hottest professional wrestling podcast in the Midwest, because we hit them with that work round the clock. You guys already know what it is. I got my man in the building. I got Hutch in the building. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Just kind of chilling out on this Sunday, and
yes.
ready to talk about. Man, I don't even know how you would describe it. Hijinks, chicanery.
Oh, it's definitely that, bro.
Suspense.
Oh, drama.
Like, drama. Debt. I mean,
people getting kidnapped, bro. Like,
kidnapped, man. Blood. There's blood in the sand, people. My God.
My gosh, it's crazy, bro.
This dare I say it? The Khashoggi special is blowing up. As it were.
Oh no!
But yeah, Hutch is coming in hot. Yeah, here we are, man. So yeah, I'm doing good. And to talk about all these subjects, we didn't come alone. We got a squad.
We did. We do, bro.
We sent out the signal. We put out the signal.
We sent that signal up in the air last night, and they came and they answered it, bro, because there is too much to talk about. I mean, we're so many topics that we want to touch on, and as Hutch just touched on, as we were talking to you guys, the household, the 14 different countries across these great United States and locally right here in Indiana, so much, and we've given you guys some great content in the last week. Go back and check out my interview with ADHD Dalton Davis. Great interview, highest downloaded in a single day since the inception of In Your House. Also, you guys may, when you guys listen to this, it will be Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. So you guys will have heard the Calvin Tankman interview, which was a fantastic interview. Another one, the big man heavyweight hustle. But as Hutch said, we didn't come alone, and we brought a friend of In Your House to the show, and he is what is it that Diddy said, Hutch? I think he said I'm trying to think of it here. He said, "You bring your friend, and then I'll bring my friend, and we could all be friends."
Be friends, yeah.
Shit, we could do this every week. And that's exactly what we did. And that's exactly what we did, man. We brought back the host of the Squared Circle City Show, and that's Indy Mike. How you doing, bro?
What's good, bud? How's it been? It's been a while, man.
It has been a while, man. It has been a while. Glad to have you on the show, bro.
Absolutely. Always good to be on, man.
Yes, no doubt, man, no doubt. You guys have heard Indy Mike on the Bizarro Lucha Endless Waltz recap show. It was a great, great episode. A lot of downloads. And, man, you didn't come alone, did you, bro?
I surely did. We're coming up in this place with my cousin.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you introduce him, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's your cousin, man. Independent hip-hop artist. I've listened to some of his music on Spotify, man, and dude is dope, super talented. I mean, I've been performing hip-hop since I was 15 years old, listening to it since before that, so, I don't, maybe I know a little bit about art, but I definitely know what I like, and I definitely dig what he's putting out there, and that is Kace, Cayne. How's it going, bro?
What's happening, man?
Oh, happy to have you on, man. Happy to have you on to talk about some.
Happy to be here, bro.
Yeah, heavy topics, man. Heavy topics, and man, you've actually real quick. I just want to throw it out there. I know we'll talk about it at the end of the show, but you got a show coming up, don't you, bro?
Yes, indeed. November 15th at the Citadel.
And that is in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yes, indeed. Indianapolis, Indiana, the Citadel.
Nice. I actually just went to a show out at the Citadel. That's actually a really cool venue.
I love it out there.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. And we're definitely going to get more into that because we want to have Kace promote and advertise all his appearances, his albums, where they can get it, and we're definitely going to get to that. But before we get to that, man, there's a lot of heavy topics, and I'm really glad that we was able to get Kace on this episode because, man, the culture, the culture, and man, nowadays you hear that a lot, the culture, and I feel like hip hop is a cornerstone of what the culture represents, and you being a hip hop artist, man, I definitely wanted to get some of your insight on this topic we're about to touch on.
All right.
So let's get it popping. So last week, it was around this time last week, I think, Hutch, man, Jordan Myles, formerly known as ACH in Ring of Honor, had a chance to meet him. He's also been in New Japan. Had a chance to meet him a few years ago in Indianapolis, and he was a solid cat. Man, Are you hearing what happened with all this stuff with his shirt, Hutch?
I have, and before I speak on anything and give my opinion on anything, I'm gonna leave. I've been thinking because I know you said we was gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
And let's face it, man. I mean, this is a subject that's kind of like walking through a proverbial minefield.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to be taken out of context.
Yes.
So I just want to lead with this. To the people who don't understand why people are offended, you don't have any place to tell anybody, especially when it comes to race, what to be offended by.
Right.
If you don't know what that's like. You know what I mean? Like I think the biggest problem with people is they don't take the time to see to think about what it would feel like to be in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah.
Facts.
And so in regards of the people who's like, I don't know why the hell these people are offended. You can disrespectfully fuck off with that, is all I'm going to say with that. Because again, who are you to say what somebody else should be offended by, especially in something as heavy as this?
Absolutely.
Now with that being said, I really don't know how they let this one slip by. I mean, it's WWE has this. Let's face it, WWE. This isn't the first time that they've peppered in racism.
Yeah,
that they sprinkled in racism. I mean, let's not forget, Vince McMahon saying that line to John Cena that
on national television.
On national television that I'm not going to repeat here. Google it if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but it's out there.
Yeah.
There's actually a video going around now of John Cena where he was doing back when he was like freestyle Thugonomics John Cena, whatever it is, when he was like going in on people, where like he spat out like 3 blatantly racist bars.
Really?
And I'm not the type that, I'm not, 2019 is the I'm offended culture. It takes a lot to offend me.
Yeah,
but I don't want to call myself an old head, but I've been here since 1980. So I mean, I've been through like, a few different decades, and the stuff back then really doesn't translate and to now.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But that being said, back to the shirt. I don't want to get distracted here.
Sure.
Man, I see why dude was offended, and I had a lot of questions that seemed to be answered because I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, don't they approve the design of the T-shirt? And then come to find out that the T-shirt was a different color, that it was presented as white to him or gray or something like that, and then all of a sudden.
Wow.
And then they released this black version, and then ACH was like, well, what the hell is this? And then like Triple H was like, no, this is what we're going with, and here we are. And then they changed it, and then they caved and they changed it. It was like, oh, well, we didn't sell a shirt anyway, so we went ahead and changed the design on it. Here you go. Tried to sprinkle it, push it back under the rug.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, there's part of me that's just like, I don't know if dude went too far on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, there's making your point and getting it out there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what did Jay Lethal do?
Right. let me jump in there. I'm sorry, bro. Let me jump in there
back to you. Back to you.
I want to jump in there on that situation. Is that I've met both of these men, Jay Lethal and ACH, and they were both solid guys. Now I present this to this situation is, I understand where Jordan Myles is coming from. I understand why he's upset. I looked at it and my brain, I guess is how my brain is. My brain didn't automatically jump to, okay, this is blackface. It took me a second. You know what I mean? It took me a second to process it.
Same.
And I'm like, oh. And then when I realized it, I'm like, oh, I get it.
I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah, I couldn't unsee it after that. But as hard as he went on Twitter, and dog went hard, like he was going in, like ain't no way they're pushing him now. Like
oh no.
Everything that he said, the biggest thing that I had a problem with was that Uncle Tom line at Jay Lethal, because how is attacking another black man supposed to fix the problem?
That's not gonna fix anything.
I agree with that. You also let me go ahead and throw it to Kace real quick. You being another black man, like how do you feel like I'm accurate with that? Like he's not gonna get any of his point across calling another brother that came to prominence in Uncle Tom.
Nah, like negativity with negativity equals more negativity. Like that's not how you fix the problem.
Yeah. Man, it's just I don't understand it at all. I don't understand it at all.
I mean, the way that I saw it, like, because I was with him on everything, and then when I saw that, I was thinking, now you're just throwing gasoline on a fire.
Yeah,
like there, you're not trying to better the problem. You're just trying to, again, just spread toxicity, and you can't have that. That's not going to solve the problem. And again, and with that, I'm not going to say he lost me with that tweet, because again, the cause and his reason for being upset was valid and just. Yeah. And I applaud him for standing up. and speaking out the way that he did. Because, I mean, the man's field of fucks were barren. He didn't give a damn. Like,
Nah, he said it all.
He said every single thing that he felt, and did not hesitate to defend himself when people, fired back at him. And fired back at him, they fired back disrespectfully. I'm sure if somebody was willing to have a logical dialogue with him, he would have that. But, you got these assholes that are sitting behind their keyboards and their phones that, again, don't take the time to consider where he's coming from, and are just puzzled why he's offended and going off on Twitter. And it's just sad. But again, it's good on him that he stood up for himself, man. And I guess you could say good on WWE for changing it, but I think that's just a poorly applied Band-Aid to a much bigger wound that's going to be very overlooked.
I agree with that. And my question is this, like, and then I'll throw it to Indy Mike and let him throw his perspective out there, is, man, as this design, as we know, as us wrestling fans that know how the wrestling business goes, this shirt had to be approved by the front office. I'm thinking, how did it get through this many people without somebody saying, okay, maybe this ain't the best move? Indy Mike, what are you thinking about the whole situation?
Well, this is my first about hearing something about Jay Lethal being called enough times, so this is news to me.
Yeah.
But damn, when I first heard about the shirt, I was thinking pretty much the same thing. I'm like, these shirts got to get approved by the talent themselves before they actually get released. Yeah. And when I finally saw the shirt, like, had I seen it at first, I would have thought it was just like a smiling shirt. I wouldn't have even really thought anything about it until, and I think that's a sad thing that we as a society don't really, like, even with, like Hutch said, like, we had to act, I think both of you guys said, you had to actually look at it for a second to actually see it.
Yeah.
And seeing as how that particular thing is not really something that's entirely prevalent in society nowadays because it's from generations past.
Sure, yeah.
It's like it didn't really pop until I thought
he said
about it.
something.
I'm like, oh shit! Like, right. But no, I mean, it just disgusts me. I've not been following a lot of what ACH has been saying. Obviously, since I didn't even know that there was any beef between him and G Lethal, I knew that there was something going on with Booker T. But I haven't read anything up on that. But while you guys were talking, I was reading up a little bit on the Jay Lethal thing, and I'm like, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to, as soon as we're done with this, do some more research on that.
Sure.
But yeah, to piggyback off of what Kace said is, fire fighting fire is only going to cause more fire, more or less.
Absolutely.
Negativity against negativity. I mean. Yeah, it's just not going to help. And I'm sure those two have known each other for years. There's better ways they can go about that. I read a little bit of what ACH said, though. Like, he's kind of being a little bit of a dick.
He kind of is. I'll agree.
He's kind of being a little bit of a dick. Like, he's kind of seeming entitled a little bit, which I'm not digging because I've been a supporter of ACH since I first started watching him wrestle because the dude's really good. But I can't not back him on the whole, they should have ran this by him. And for WWE to go ahead and say that, no, we got his approval and it was a gray shirt before it was a black shirt, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, dude, I'm not buying that shit because it's been known for years that racism is very, very rampant within that company. Like just here recently, it took us all these decades before we finally got our first black WWE champion. And I think we've talked about that before. We might have talked about that before. I think we might have talked about the Kofi Kingston finally winning the title. Yeah. But it's crazy that it took that long. And a lot of people say, but what about The Rock? But let me ask all three of you. when you guys look at The Rock, do you see a black man or do you see a Samoan?
I see a Samoan.
Yeah, definitely see a Samoan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not no diss on him. That's not no diss on him. But the first thing I think of is he is a Samoan man.
Difference right there.
It is.
Exactly. So for people to go ahead and say that The Rock was the first black WWE champion, I'm not buying it because he's half Samoan. Kofi, on the other hand, that dude's black.
Bro is straight from Ghana, West Africa. I mean, he's from the motherlands, bro.
Sure is.
Straight up.
Racism is very, very rampant in that company, which is why I'll still watch, but I don't support it very much because there's so much political bullshit and there's so much ridiculousness going on throughout that company.
Oh yeah.
Granted, I know people that work there, and I know people that work there, but I just there's so much racism that they just sweep under the rug, and it's just ridiculous. And they're gonna make money despite it. So I mean, it's because
it's crazy, man.
It's the WWE. People are gonna buy into the product regardless. They're not gonna worry about it. But stuff like this, especially in today's day and age, even if it wasn't today's day and age, I mean, no matter what decade, era, whatever we're in, stuff like that should never be taken lightly. And there's no place for it in society. I don't care if it's 2019, if it's 2029, if it's 1859. I don't care what year it is. There's no place for it in society whatsoever.
I agree, man. I agree.
Well, I mean, and again, you want to talk about examples of racism in that company. I mean, let's cite a few other examples here. I mean, let look back at it. Damn near any African American talent that they've had in WWE. What do they have them doing?
Stereotypical shit.
They had a team called Crime Time, for fuck's sake.
Yo.
And again, check your rollies, check your rollies and crack your 40s. You know what I mean? And great, I love Crime Time, right? But
I do.
Let's face it. Could they not do something else other than that?
Yeah.
I mean, could they not do something else with that? And then, I mean, again, that's just one example out of many. And I think they've even kind of addressed it a couple of times. They've kind of danced around it in promos and stuff. But man, it's always been that way. And it sucks that it's not even just African American wrestlers. Look at what they do with Asian talent.
Oh yeah.
So stereotypical every single time. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Like, and they did it with Hispanic talent as well to a degree. I mean, at least they spread their racism equally. I guess we could say that, right?
Man,
they're equal opportunity racists. They hate everyone.
Yeah, at least they hate everybody equally. You know what I mean? They hate them all, pal.
Hate them all. No, that's facts, man. That's facts. But, okay, so now I'm going to flip it a little bit. I am going to flip it a little bit on this subject, and I'm going to play a little devil's advocate. I'm gonna do it like this. Now, Jordan Myles, as we all know, was not getting utilized on NXT television. Not utilized. He's seeing other guys that's been there not as long as him on TV, showing up on the main roster. There's a little company out in Jacksonville called AEW, and they're starting to really fill their roster out and starting to they're still signing talent. They are still signing talent. So maybe, and like I said, we're just playing devil's advocate. We got to look at it from all angles. Do we think that, does anybody here think that there was a possibility that Jordan Myles was reaching a little bit and he's trying to create an Antonio Brown situation for himself to get out of his WWE contract and be able to either wrestle independently or go to AEW? Hutch, what do you think?
Well, just to speak hypothetically, everything in wrestling is a work, brother.
Yes, it is. You're right. You're right.
And I believe say what you will about him, but a great wrestling mind once said, controversy creates cash.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, is this controversial.
Yes, it is.
But then you got to wonder, does AEW want to bring, not that I'm saying that this is a negative, toxic thing, but because ACH could, like, that man could get by on his talent and resume alone.
Oh yeah, he'll get work. He'll get work.
He doesn't need this. But could this be hey, I'm going to talk about this because I need to, but I'm going to try to turn this chicken shit into chicken salad, so to speak, and if I can profit off of it somehow, be it, because let's face it, I'm not going to get pushed in NXT or WWE anytime soon.
Right.
If he can make it work to his favor, then sure, why not? But he's also in an interesting spot in this current job because, yeah, they may push him a little bit to satiate him, but they're not going to fire him because then he could go back to this, right?
Yeah.
So not that I'm saying he would, but he could. Not that I'm saying that I'm not trying to say that he'd be petty, but you know what I mean? But it's like, are they really going to push him? So it's like, I hate to say it, but long term, I'm going to pose another question.
Sure, okay.
Could this possibly taint his career as far as what he does? Because let's say that this man gets pushed to the moon, right?
Yeah.
Is he getting pushed because he's over and because of his own merits? Or is he getting pushed as a receipt and a payback for them dicking him over on this T-shirt situation?
That's a good question to ask.
Again, we're all speaking in hypotheticals here. Sure. But I think that's something that he needs to look at. I think that's something that fans need to look at. And I think that's something that I think everybody needs to look at. But again, that's just something I'm seeing as a fan on the outside looking in. I really, it's tough to speak on the crux of the matter here, which is, again, racism. Because, again, I can't speak on something that I don't understand. Right. So I mean, I understand it, but you know what I mean by lived it. I've never been on the receiving end. You know what I mean? So, like, sure. I can't speak on that. So it's tough. But I mean, I wish him all the best. I hope whatever he does, because again, I don't dislike the guy. Again, to reiterate, I commend him for standing up for himself. Other than the Uncle Tom thing with Jay Lethal, I think that was a bit. And I did see that he also reached out to Booker T because Booker T really wasn't on the same page as ACH was with all of this. He was to a certain degree, but he was kind of like, Booker T was kind of like, this isn't like that moment. You know what I mean? That kind of thing that you think it might be. And ACH responded to him, was like, hey, with all due respect, I'm a fan of you, but have me on your podcast and we can talk about it. And I don't know about you guys, but I would love to hear that podcast.
Me too.
With all due respect to this podcast that everybody's listening to right now.
I agree.
But yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm curious to see the fallout from this.
It is. It's a very, very sticky situation, but you have to look at it that this is still the wrestling business, and my brain always goes to, is this a work or is this a shoot? So I'm gonna push it on. I'm gonna push it on over to Indy, Mike. Man, what are you thinking, man? Do you think that this may have been a ploy by ACH, Jordan Myles, to create an Antonio Brown situation for himself, where he is being so problematic that it forces them to take him out of his contract and he can be out from under the WWE shackles?
I definitely see eye to eye with you on most everything. Like, wrestling itself is a work, man. I don't know. I'm kind of like, why would he, if this is all a work, why would he go to these lengths to try to, like, incite, like, bring up racism and shit to, like, try to get a push? Yeah. I don't think he would do that. But, yeah, I don't think he's going to be hurting for work if he is trying to get out of his WWE tenure.
Yeah.
And try to go elsewhere. I mean, he'll thrive wherever he goes. I mean, he can easily go back to New Japan. He can go over to AEW.
Ring of Honor.
That's one thing that I love about. That's one thing that I love about AEW is they're very all-inclusive.
Yes.
They're very culturally aware.
Yes.
I know they were having at some of their earlier events, I don't remember if it was like All Out or it was one of the earlier events where they had sensory rooms for people with autism.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
backstage
that.
and everything.
I remember that. Yeah.
And
Yeah, they do that at every show, I do believe.
they make it a point to be very all-inclusive and culturally aware.
No doubt.
So I don't think that would, the whole shirt debacle, I don't think that would ever turn AEW's eye away from ACH. I think he could go over there and easily thrive and be one of the top guys.
I think they'd embrace him.
But, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I just don't want this to put him in a bit of a Pac situation.
Yeah.
To where he's not on TV. He wants out of his contract, but they won't let him out. So he's just going to sit there and do absolutely nothing writing his contract out.
Yeah.
Well,
But if it does, please let me get that ACH versus Pac match over in AEW because I'll be all there for that.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be nasty. That'd be nasty. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I'm gonna throw it over to Kace, and then we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch gears here after that. So what are you thinking, man? Are you thinking that I'm not sure if you're aware of the Antonio Brown situation where he got himself out of his Raiders contract and then ended up going to the Patriots, and all kinds of other crazy shit ended up happening after that. But do you think that ACH Jordan Myles may have created such a situation for himself as a ploy to try to get him out of his WWE contract? Because let's face it, he has not been on TV. He hasn't been wrestling. He's just been collecting a check. So do you think as an artist, you think that he is tired of sitting on the sideline and not being able to display his art, and he's maybe trying to push himself out of the contract so we can go somewhere to get paid to actually, play the game, to perform the art? What are you thinking about that, Kace?
Honestly, man, as an artist, I feel like he might be trying to get up out that contract.
Yeah.
Like, if I was sitting around doing nothing, man, yeah, I'm definitely going to cause a ruckus and be like, yep, let me up out of here. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
and I feel like, man, honestly, if his career would be a better fit in AEW, then go for it. Like, totally go for it. Because I'd rather see him actually doing something than to just sit,
I feel that, bro. I definitely feel that. And you being an artist, I can only imagine how you'd be. I mean, it'd be nice to collect a check, but imagine you actually signing with the label and they're telling you like, oh, we don't need you to put out any music. We don't got no shows for you, but we'll pay you $500 a week. Like, yeah, you get that free money to sit on your couch, but nobody's hearing your art. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm not going.
Same, bro. Same. I couldn't do it.
Absolutely not.
I couldn't do it. So man, it was a crazy situation. I hope all the best for Jordan Myles. I hope WWE can get out from under this, because in the culture that we're in today, man, it's people get outraged about something and then they forget about it after the next thing comes, and they get outraged about that. So I don't know where it's gonna go. Obviously he's quiet now. But he's still on social media, but people aren't making reports about him. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is real quick another political type situation. But before we do that, I want to take a second to shout out Dragon Horde's Coin and Gaming. Dragon Horde's is the premier store for Magic and coins in Central Indiana. If you live in Central Indiana, come check out the store and play some in-store events. If you aren't there, hit up the Facebook page at Dragon Horde's Coin and Gaming. That's Dragon Horde's Coin, letter N Gaming, to contact them about buying your stuff. They are always buying coins, Magic cards, silver, and of course gold. And if you don't know how to play Magic, They will teach you. It's a great chill environment for gamers to go and play some tabletop gaming and now console gaming, as we're going to be bringing you events there presented by In Your House and Dragon's Horde. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is this crazy thing that happened after Saudi Arabia. Hutch, man, a situation where cats are literally getting left behind. Apparently, there was a situation where there were some plane issues to where the talent couldn't get back from Saudi Arabia. But Hutch, apparently that is not the case. Could you expand on that, bro?
Yeah, they may be pushing that agenda at WWE, or may be wanting the talent to push that agenda at WWE, but that is not what we're going to talk about here. That from what I gather, it's to confirm it is an absolute shit show at Blood in the Sand 4 Khashoggi special, and yes. I'm gonna throw this out there. WWE needs to cut out Saudi Arabia like Mohammed bin Salman cut out that journalist. They need to cut them out, period. Because from what I gather, there are unpaid funds to WWE from this deal that is a 10-year deal. So we're talking a long-term contract. And so because Vince hasn't got his monies, Vince cut off the feed early, and bin Salman, the Crown Prince Grand Poobah over there, was all like, nope, get them off the plane now. So he stalled them from leaving Saudi Arabia. The talent was left in Saudi Arabia while Vince, Brock Lesnar, Hulk Hogan, and Ric Flair flew out.
Yep.
So imagine being on the roster, being left there in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And I mean, and any Saudi Arabian fans that happen to be listening, I'm not painting with a broad stroke here. I know you guys got good people over there.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys do. But man, oh man, this is just a nightmare. Yeah. and again, imagine being a talent and being in that situation, and then being told that you're supposed to say, "Oh yeah, the plane was messing up. That's why we're stuck here." Right?
Man,
and then. And you know, and we're going to get to SmackDown later, but think about how heavily SmackDown was affected by this. I mean, basically all of the roster was across the world, unable to leave at the time that SmackDown, you know, that their obligations with Fox, this show that they just started on Fox, right? That they're supposed to pull these ratings with, which again, we'll get to later. They did miraculously, but it's still, I mean, that even notwithstanding, it's a very troubling situation. And I would have to guess that the roster's morale is just gone. Would you really want to go back? Because, you know, there's another one coming in 4 months, 5 months? Because they're doing it again. So, I mean, they're going back again. And it's going to be the whole thing all over again. And it's going to be even worse now if this money situation's not worked out. Yeah. And these people over there, they don't play. Again, when I make jokes about that journalist, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go Google that shit. These people do not play over there.
They don't.
And I would not put it past them to try something over there. Because Vince, it'll be interesting because, again, Saudi Arabia, these people that run Saudi Arabia, they don't mess around. But, again, Vince, say what you want about him, Vince don't let people walk on him either.
Yeah, he don't.
So, who's going to give here?
That's an interesting question, bro. That is an interesting question. So let me hop in here, and then I'm gonna throw it over. I'm gonna throw it over to Indy Mike after I hop in here. I'm gonna say it like this, and and what I'm about to say is very, very serious, and that is this, man. $300 million, $500 million that's been unpaid. And that is crazy because that is a shit ton of money. I don't think I'd ever see that money in 5 lifetimes. But the point is this. For talent to, let's say it for what it is. So you want to say that it was plane issues. Man, this is an issue where the Crown Prince said, hold these people here until we figure out what is going on with the feed, why they cut the feed out. I want and then as a leader of the entire company, Vince McMahon dips out with his main guys, his main cash cows, and leaves the rest of the talent there. If even one person got hurt or injured or even killed from the situation, one superstar, it doesn't matter if it's a main event superstar, a mid-carder, or a jobber, if anybody lost their life from the situation, this is not worth the money, Hutch. It's not. This is a dangerous situation to be in.
They're playing with fire, man. They're playing with fire, and again, they're starting to get burnt. And like you said, it doesn't matter who it was, and it wouldn't even need to be a talent. It could have been one of the road people. It could have been one of the tech people. It could have been one of the lighting people, one of the backstage people, a camera guy. It doesn't matter. Anybody working for that brand could have gotten taken, right? And I don't want to say hostage, but they could have gotten held.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, held on top of on top of the whole crew being held up at the airport due to quote unquote plane issues.
Yeah.
And again, what's going to happen next time if the monies aren't there? Are they just going to do another show? And what if the prince is all like, well, you know what? The hell with your money. I'm not going to give you nothing, and you're still going to do a show for me because you signed this contract.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
yep.
And then what's Vince going to, again, it's going to be like this twisted power play chess match that's going on, man. And again, you're playing against somebody you don't want to play with. I mean, I'm not saying to kowtow and bow to him, hell no. But you got to find a way out of that deal is all I'm saying. I don't know if you're going to have to settle and give what monies you gave back or, were given back, and that's going to hurt. You know what I mean? Cause that's a lot because they've gotten quite a few $1 million already out of this.
Yeah.
With what's already been given. So I'm not sure what or even if they could get out of this contract. I'm no lawyer. I don't know anything about that shit. I just co-host a 5-star podcast for crying out loud.
Right.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but shit. But again, there's fire. Get the hell out. Again, just get away from it. It's bad. Bad.
It is.
Bad.
Yes, it's all bad. It's all bad. So with this situation, and now from what I understand, the talent is back home. So I hope I'm right about that.
Yes.
But
yes,
okay, good.
They are.
Good.
And I will say on that, if you want a single picture that purely encapsulates what I feel like the mood of the roster is, look up Luke Harper's picture that he posted on Instagram.
Oh man.
And by the way, all this talk and the stuff with the T-shirt thing and all that actually got that poor man 2 more years on his contract too.
Oh come on, we got more time on his contract. Yep. This is terrible.
It doesn't stop, dude. It doesn't stop. He's never leaving. Luke Harper's
He's
never
not
leaving.
Going nowhere.
But yes, in all seriousness, guys, you want what I feel like is a pure picture of the mood of the roster. Look at that picture of Luke Harper. They're done, man. Dude. They're over this nonsense.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy that this is happening like this. So I'm gonna push it over to Indy Mike, man. What are you thinking about this crazy situation between Vince McMahon and the Crown Prince and how talent is getting held in Saudi Arabia? That's scary, man. But what do you think?
So I'm gonna throw away all my possibilities of ever being hired by World Wrestling Entertainment, LLC, whatever the fuck you want to call it, be it behind the scenes or as a commentator or whatever the hell they could possibly ever hire me on for. Vince McMahon is a fucking idiot. I am going to, I'm right there. I'm risking my entire life's ever possible getting hired on by Vince McMahon's a fucking idiot. The fact that he's putting money and all that bullshit above all of his talent, it's an elitist move, and I absolutely despise it. The fact that he's like, oh, well, let me and, I don't know, was it Triple H and Stephanie was over there? I don't fucking know. I was working that day, so I didn't catch any of it.
Gotcha.
And these guys said Hogan and Flair and Brock, they all left, but they left everybody else behind.
Yeah.
They let everybody else get left behind. They didn't, I guess you would say they kind of intentionally did it, but whatever. It's an elitist move, and it's really disgusting. And it's another reason why I can't stand that company very much.
Yeah.
Because too many, and it goes for a lot of businesses nowadays. Is like the small man's always going to get shafted for the boss and the cronies and all that stuff, and it's just, I think it's ridiculous, and it doesn't look good on the company at all. Granted, again, like I said earlier, it's WWE, and they're going to make money despite it, but it's just why I just don't get it. It's ridiculous. It's terrible on Vince's part as an owner, CEO, whatever, for him to just leave.
Just leave, bro. He's supposed to be the leader.
Behind. Exactly.
Man, I'll tell you this, and I'll be real honest about it. I have a great team here at In Your House. People that work with me and stuff like that to make everything pop the way that it pops. I couldn't do it without my team. So as somebody who's kind of viewed as a leader in some ways, that was a disgusting move to me, because you left your ace boon coons in the trenches like that while you dipped out on your private jet. You don't know what could have happened. Even if one life was affected in this situation, there should be all kinds of guilt in Vince McMahon's heart, because there's a lot of blood on his hands because he agreed to this deal. So, as a leader, I'm not cool with it. Kace, what are you thinking about hearing this whole situation about the Crown Prince not paying his funds, Vince leaving his crew and not knowing what's going to happen? I mean, where are you at on this whole situation?
I'm with Mike, man. It definitely just sounds like an elitist move to me. You just left your whole team behind. It was just like, yep, they'll figure it out.
It's crazy.
That's just absolute garbage to me.
It's crazy.
Like, that's your money maker right there. And you're just like, yep, I got a whole nother team, whatever.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy because he does. He's got a whole bunch of stars that was still in the United States, which we're going to get to that when we talk about SmackDown. But still, like, the way that he can see, and this is not the first, like, I'm not speaking, I've never been in the same room as Vince McMahon, but from everything that I hear, he sees his superstars as commodities. He sees them as property. He sees them as it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. So for him to be like, okay, well, if something pops off, at least from my perception, if something pops off, I've got everybody's replacement still in the United States. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not worried about them at all. At all.
It doesn't feel like he is. It don't feel like it.
And you know what? I'm going to throw this out there too.
Sure,
a couple points. Couple things. First off, again, I liken the WWE to a ship, right?
Yeah.
A captain is always supposed to go down with the ship.
Yep.
If something is going on, that captain is there to suffer whatever fate that the crew happens to suffer, because you guys traveled there together. But what obligation could Vince have to say, I gotta go? You guys figure it out. Everything will be fine. It's mechanical problems. The plane's broke. Everything will be fine. Just tell everybody that. The money's not right. I'll figure it out, but I gotta go. And
that's literally the only bird that he could flip to the press. He was like, oh, you can keep them here, but you can't keep me here.
Exactly.
Man.
Exactly. And oh my God, that's it. Kace, you're right. That was the ego move of Vince McMahon. Oh my God. He's onto it, Con. Your boy, he's right.
He's right.
That Vince knew this was going to happen. That's why Vince left.
And think about it. He's got his own private jet. And look, like Lesnar, who also has his own private jet, he picked and chose. I bet you Vince was like, I can imagine Vince was like, Brock, you take Jimmy, you take Hulk, you take Rick, because they're the main guy. In Vince's mind, this is Vince's mind in his bubble, those are the main money makers. Those are the guys that he can throw out there to the ring and have a 2 to 5 minute segment and think that they're making him millions of dollars. But we all know that that's not necessarily the truth, because the wrestling world is changing. But he made sure in his mind he got his main money makers got them out of there, and dipped out on 2 private jets, his and Lesnar's, and left everybody else.
And this begs the question as well as to when they go back, and if this is the case that Vince left in spite of all of this, isn't that going to piss off the Prince even more?
Oh, yeah.
So now what's he going to do when they come back? Because they're contractually obligated to come back.
Ooh.
So now what's going to happen? I tell you what, this is the storyline. To hell with all the bullshit storylines that they put on the show. This is your storyline that they need to have on TV.
Yeah. Because it's got people talking.
And the other point that I was going to say, everybody's all comparing and contrasting AEW and WWE, right?
Yeah.
I bet Tony Khan wouldn't have left.
Oh, no. I bet he would have stayed, bro. I bet he would have stayed.
Tony Khan wouldn't have left. Tony Khan wouldn't have made this deal to begin with, I don't think.
I don't think so.
But I don't think Tony Khan would have left his crew there.
No.
So I'm just gonna let that comment just marinate. I'm just gonna leave that out there.
You know what, bro? I think we got to move on from that because what you just said is all that needs to be said. You know what I mean?
I mean, what else, man? I mean, you guys give us your comments. Hit us back. Let us know what you guys think, respectfully.
Absolutely.
So,
if you guys don't vibe with what we're saying and don't dig what we're saying, hit us up. Let us know. We can have a conversation about it. At me. We can talk about it. That's just,
at me too.
That's how it goes. Because in my eyes, is somebody that now is blessed to be participating in the professional wrestling business, and of course this podcast that opened up all the doors, now being somewhat of a personality. I just think that it was disgusting, man, and like how far away, because think about it. We're going to get to actual wrestling because we're about to move on, but the first 2 topics of this heavy show have not been in ring related, and that's not good.
Not at all. It's not what we should be talking about here.
No.
It shouldn't be a story. This is not what wrestling's about. It should be about what happens on the stage and in the ring and, the promos and all this stuff. Like, we should be focused on that. And, and there's some great stuff to talk about, which, again, we're going to get to. But it's got this dark looming shadow over it, man, and it's hard to enjoy all that good stuff with this nasty toxicity over here. You know what I mean?
Gross. Yeah, it's nasty, bro.
And again, I hope the listeners were with us. We usually don't like to talk politics on this show.
We sure don't.
When it bleeds into the art that we love and it's starting to affect it, it's kind of something that needs to be addressed, and it's kind of our jobs to do it. So, there.
Yeah, that's it. It's not something I like to talk wrestling. The whole reason I started a professional wrestling podcast is because I like to talk about the sport and the art that is professional wrestling. The fact that we had to come out here and talk about these 2 disgusting situations that deal with racism and somebody being an elitist and think this is not what we want to talk about. And both situations surround both situations surround the WWE, bro. So it sucks, man, but it's stuff that at our responsibility as wrestling talk show hosts we had to talk about. But now time to get to the good stuff, and the first thing that I just want to brush over this a little bit. It's the Finn Balor promo from NXT, and I think that's the best promo I've heard him cut in his entire WWE/NXT career. Hutch, what do you think?
Who knocked over that man's Legos?
Man, for real.
Why is Finn Balor so mad?
Yo, he's heated, bro.
What happened? Real talk, though, I gotta say, it's definitely the best promo I've seen him give.
Yeah.
I do believe the retaliatory promo would be a layup for anybody. Again, I'd be like, dude, you play with Legos, and just because you come out trying to finger bang at people, point your little finger guns at everybody, you think you're a badass all of a sudden. like who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Like, that would be my response. If I'm like a Damian Priest or something like that, that's what I'm coming out and saying. And then I'm like, oh, and then again, if I'm like somebody like Damian Priest, I'm like, where you at? Oh, there you are. I didn't see you down there, little guy.
Oh,
You know, like
oh.
you know what I mean? Like I like again, I love the promo, and again, it was the best thing that I've seen Balor do. But bro, I've seen you again. No respect. I know I've seen you put together Legos and all that shit. Again, you know me, bro. I've said this on the podcast a few times. It's hard for me to take Balor seriously after seeing that. I know everybody's got their hobbies, and I'm not trying to judge them, but you know what I mean? Like,
I feel you.
He's coming out trying to play this badass, and I'm just kind of like, eh.
I dug it though, bro. I dug it. Though
Oh, I
because
did.
The content of the things that he said, man, and one of the things he's saying that the problem is that everybody, you know, all the fans are now the boys in the back, and all the guys in the back should basically be in the crowd with the fans. I was like, ooh, that's heavy. You know, that's some heavy stuff, and you know, we like to see those curtain pulled back type promos a little bit, you know.
Yeah, and I did like the line where he said he's going to turn Johnny Wrestling into Johnny Watches Wrestling.
Yeah.
I did, you know, as he should be. You know, I dug that. And I will say, like, the promo did make Balor feel bigger than he is. So, I mean, again, I know I was coming in silly with the jokes and all that stuff, but I do like Finn Balor. And I've been upset with the way that Finn Balor's been presented since they brought him over to, you know, well, I guess you can say bring him up to WWE, brought him over to WWE, you know, Raw and SmackDown, because they did him well in NXT.
They did him good in NXT,
and it seems like they're going to again, you know, as they are now. So, I mean, I'm with it, man. And, you know, I'm definitely going to tune in every week to see what they do. Because, I mean, NXT's been putting on a hell of a show.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure to watch this week's episode specifically for that promo. And I wasn't disappointed. It was good stuff.
Oh, I thought it was good too. So Indy, Mike, what were you thinking about that promo when you watched it? Have you had a chance to check it out?
I have. I've had a chance to watch, I think, most of the show at this point.
Yes.
I don't remember when I stopped after a certain point with the show, but I've watched the promo. I thought it was a good promo. I like to see this edge that Finn's got going on. It wasn't my favorite part of the show so far, but it was definitely good. I like the promo. I like seeing where they're going with him. It's weird seeing him back down in NXT now. I feel like they wasted him entirely on the main roster.
Man.
And that's to say the least. Complete understatement. I mean, he was good because he was the first Universal Champion. He had an Intercontinental title run and all that, but he should have done so much more. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him on NXT. But since we're talking about NXT, there's two things that I want to touch on. We talk about all these names that just signed when they had that, what was it, Rising Stars or whatever, that tournament they had.
Sure, yeah.
That previously aforementioned Jordan Myles and a bunch of others were in. One thing that I love seeing is Cameron Grimes, the former Trevor Lee.
Yeah.
He is so freaking good. And the fact that I can't even remember who it was with. Was it Tyler Bate?
It was Tyler Bate.
Wednesday?
Yeah, he was wrestling against Tyler Bate.
Such a solid match. The one thing that I took away from that match, though, is I absolutely need Cameron Grimes and Killian Dane to partner up.
Ooh.
Like, that has to frickin' be a thing. Like, right now. Those two would go so well together. That, and we're getting an all-women's war game.
Yes, we are. That is huge. So let me just ask. I'll just ask this because I don't think Kace really keeps up with NXT. What do you know? Do you know anything about NXT, man? As far as what they've done or where they've been? You said
I'm out of the loop.
Oh, you got to check that out, man. Wednesday nights on USA, check that out. So it's a huge deal for them to be having such a big War Games out there in Chicago. Hutch, what did you think about what you think about checking that out as far as the War Games and all women's War Games and who's involved in it? Because I just got a chance to finish all of NXT and I'm interested in that match.
Well, I'll be honest, man. God, I really don't want to sound like the contrarian here. I love the idea of it, and I'm going to be here for it, and I bet the match is going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
However, I've been watching wrestling for a long time, man, and War Games was always the culmination of build-up. You know what I mean? Like, a team, like a group of people, like they have a match that they just, it never comes to that final finish, and they got to have a cage match. But, oh, my God, even the cage isn't enough to hold them. What do they need to do? By God, we need to finish it in War Games, right?
Yeah.
So War Games was something that was built to.
Yeah.
That had a reason. This War Games, as cool as it might be, was just like, hey, all these women are fighting each other. Hey, let's put them in War Games. It'll be the first women's War Games match, just to have it. Right.
Right.
Like, why are we having it? Why are they fighting? What's the winner, how's the winner's going to benefit? Other than, they did a really good job in that match, and it was really athletic. You know what I mean? Like, where does it all lead? Where's the story to it?
No doubt.
I might be the only one here. Again, am I going to be here for it? Am I going to watch it? Absolutely, because I'm here for every takeover, because, again, NXT hasn't had a bad one.
For sure.
And I wish the women all the best. I hope they're all going to be okay, because they're going to be taking some crazy ass bumps
and all nuts, that bro. Stuff. It's going to be nuts.
So, and the women involved, they're all good. I mean, for once, I'm really kind of iffy on I don't even know their names. The girls that run with as Aiden English called her, the Queen of Hearts.
Oh, so bad, so bad. Oh.
Shayna Baszler. I don't know what those girls' names are that runs with them. I'm not really fans of them so much, but
Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir.
There you go,
bro. How many episodes have I ripped them? They are just not getting better to me.
I still think the tall blonde. I still think the tall blonde one looks like Legolas from Lord of the Rings.
Yo. Yo, what is happening?
I'm waiting for her to go. You have my bow. And then give me my axe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm waiting for it, dude.
Yo, but I gotta rewind. I gotta rewind a little bit because, of course, we're talking NXT. But man, okay, so I gotta tell all y'all about this. And in case it don't matter if you don't know about what's going on currently in WWE, you can appreciate this too. So,
all right.
So they had Aiden English on commentary after they had so many talents not able to show up to the SmackDown event because they were held in Saudi Arabia. So they had Aiden English, the fiance or husband of Eddie Guerrero's daughter, Shao, I do believe, unless they've divorced or not together. I don't know. It's not none of my business. But he was doing commentary. It was his opportunity to get on Fox. It was his opportunity to be heard as the voice of the show on Fox. And Shayna Baszler, who is known as the Queen of Spades. The Queen of Spades is what her moniker is, her nickname. He says, and he's a product of NXT, so he should know the product. As she's coming out, he says, "Oh, it's the Queen of Hearts, Shayna Baszler," and y'all, when they went to commercial break, they came back and his ass was gone and Pat McAfee was in, and I was like, "Yo."
Hey. They said you gotta go, bro.
You gotta go.
SmackDown on Friday.
They said, wow. I said you blew it.
The one chance you had to be on commentary and be the voice on Fox, and you fucked it up. All right, you got to go. We're gonna bring in a kicker.
Here's my thing.
Oh my God.
Here's my thing on that.
Okay, go ahead.
If Aiden English, or if that man expects any sympathy from me, he better go ahead and open up the Webster's Dictionary and look that shit up between shit and syphilis, because he sure as hell is not going to find any sympathy from me. you have a chance, an opportunity. And you know what? I can actually speak on this a little bit. In a very minor level, I can speak on this. October 5th, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah, yep.
I was not supposed to be on commentary.
Right.
I was not supposed to be in that spot.
Nope.
Right?
Yep.
I was not prepared to be in that spot. I wasn't ready to be in that spot. And as you guys will hopefully soon see on Fight TV, I feel like I kicked ass in that spot.
And you did.
For being unprepared to be in that spot. Now, grant you, was I going out in front of millions and millions of people on Fox TV? No. But I also didn't sign my name to a fucking WWE contract either. Because as I've said on this show, if you can't go out and talk to people on a microphone and garner their attention, you have no place in WWE, period. And when you're a commentator, and you get the chance to go out there and make the call on Fox while they're dealing with the blood and the sand shit over across the world, you get the chance to come out there and peddle your wares and do your craft and what you're signed to do, and you're messing up the wrestlers' gimmicks in a very major angle that's going on.
Yep.
Hit the gong, pull out the hook, take a seat, get on the bench, sit the fuck down, put the guy in with the shorts, kicker, bring the kicker in, and let him do it.
Yo, they brought Mans out. Not even suited and booted up. They put a retired NFL punter out there with a sleeveless shirt and shorts, and he still slayed it.
And let me tell you about those shorts, bro. It's been recently stated when Pat McAfee was on WrestleMania that Vince McMahon hated the fact that he wore those shorts, right?
Yeah,
so that shows you how heated he was. He being Vince McMahon, how heated Vince was at Aiden English for letting Pat McAfee go back out there in t-shirt and those shorts. We will never see Aiden English on TV ever again.
He's
he
canceled,
bro. He may be the next one getting cut. I don't know.
Man, I'm telling you. Okay, all right. So, Indy Mike, what you thinking about hearing this whole thing, bro?
Well, I was working on Friday and I missed SmackDown because it's like a 45-minute drive home.
Sure.
And I went to Lee's to go get some chicken after work, so I was like, whatever.
Oh my God.
Right? But yeah, man, I come home and I'm hearing that like NXT was taking over SmackDown because of the stupid Saudi bullshit, and I'm like, okay, what's going on with this? From now on, I will just record SmackDown every Friday night, just in case I get a hankering for Lee's chicken. So I'm not going to worry about missing that anymore. I wish I would have seen it. If anybody has any clips of that Aiden English debacle, please send it to me. I want to see that snafu and see what's going on.
I'm sure we can find something.
We need to make a meme out of it.
Yo, real.
The fact that you're saying the fact that they came back from commercial break, and all of a sudden Aiden English has got some hair now, and he's not Aiden English anymore. It's Pat McAfee. What? I absolutely love Pat McAfee, and I can't complain about that in the least. God, please put him on commentary for literally everything. If anybody watches any of his Barstool Sports videos that he posts, like he's always posting up these videos of him doing his own commentary over like football plays and stuff. The dude is hilarious. The dude is an absolute nut. Like, please put him on commentary for everything.
Let me talk about Pat McAfee for a quick second, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about him in the professional wrestling business. I see it in the comment threads, and they're like, "Oh well, they put that he's a former football player. He doesn't know anything about wrestling." Blah blah blah. For those uneducated fans that don't know anything about Pat McAfee, he is a dedicated wrestling fan. He used his own money, got drunk, and bought a ring for his home. He didn't even realize he bought the fucking ring. He didn't even realize he bought the fucking ring. He just got drunk and bought it and set it up and everything. And I love it, and that's crazy. But I will say this: if you think that it's a bad thing that Pat McAfee is on Fox or on NXT or doing pre-shows, you need to sit down and shut the fuck up, because Pat McAfee knows what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to NXT, because he's been following the product. It was the best situation to put Pat McAfee, a mainstream, one of the greatest punters of all time. No matter what you think about anything, it don't matter. He's dope. He's always been dope. He's a mainstream figure who knows the product. Good move for putting him out there. That was the smart move to make.
Here's my thing on it. It's like, go back and listen to it. If anything about Pat McAfee, at least he sounds genuinely excited about what he's seeing.
Thank you.
He doesn't sound like those cookie cutter mannequins that they have out there throwing out their cliched lines. No. Like, and I'll give it to Renee Young. Renee Young got kicked in the face out there.
Oh,
yo. That poor girl. It was like, hey, Renee, we need you to tag in for a commentary. Even though, you're not very good at it. Nobody thinks you're very good at it. And you know that, and you embrace that. But you're cool, whatever. Come back in. Bam. Kicked right in the mouth.
Yeah, that sucks. She took it like a champ, though, bro.
Yeah, she really did. Good on her, and she kept on going. And see, and again, I love Renee. I ain't got no hate for Renee.
I got no smoke with Renee Young.
But yeah, back to Pat McAfee though. Yeah, again, is he a bit of a loose cannon? Yeah, that's kind of his shtick. I mean, that's just kind of how he rolls. But again, he made it sound exciting, and if that's what they want to do, at the very least, for this NXT thing, and I'll say this NXT thing, I don't think they did this NXT invasion just solely because this Saudi Arabia thing was going down. I do believe that they were doing this anyway. I do believe we would have seen the NXT people regardless, and we'll continue to. I'm sure they'll pop up on Raw. I'm sure we'll start seeing Raw and SmackDown talent popping up on NXT on Wednesday, because let's face it, they want to try to beat AEW in ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's another underlying motivating factor as well. But yeah, I mean, it's, again, Vince has got a lot of fires to deal with, man.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I sit here and think about it, it's like, man, you got this NXT stuff you got to deal with, trying to make that work and compete with AEW. You got this Saudi stuff. Like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But
you got the Jordan Myles thing.
And that too. Like, my God.
He's got a lot of stuff that he needs to hash out. Those things, including the up-and-coming XFL. What if that flops again? What if the XFL flops again? What if around the same time the XFL flops, Saudi decides that they're not going to be paying WWE that money? WWE's in a lot of trouble if they're not collecting their funds and delivering. What if they can't pull a 3 on Fox consistently? What's going to happen? There's a lot of shit going down, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There are a lot of moving parts, man. There's a lot of moving parts.
There is, man. There is. So, man, we got to talk. We got to talk ratings real quick. We got to talk numbers. And man, SmackDown, as they should have, this week was the highest rated wrestling show on television. So, Hutch, what are you thinking about that, man?
Well, it was well deserved. I'll tell you what. I was not on my phone for a majority of it.
Yeah, same.
It was thoroughly entertaining, and from what I gather, everybody's all like, "Oh, well, it's because Triple H. It was a Triple H show." No, it wasn't. Again, if y'all don't remember, Vince flew his ass back. Vince was there. Yep. This was a Vince McMahon show. If anything, Triple H had more say so over the presentation of his talent.
Yeah,
and they were presented well. But as far as NXT Friday Night SmackDown, I thought it was dope. And that match with Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan, holy shit!
Oh my goodness!
Like just to give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes here, we were recording we had a very awesome guest that that I had personally wanted on the show for a long ass time, Calvin Tateman, and we were in the process of doing that show at the during this match, and I had it on silent in the background while we were recording, and so I mean I got to see it, and holy shit, man! Like, and I went back and watched it later because again I wanted to see it, with the crowd and the commentary and all that stuff, and man, that was great. And the thing with Tommaso Ciampa and Miz, I mean, it was all just awesome. And again, they definitely deserve that 2 million rating.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt, bro, no doubt. I agree with that. It was a great show. We saw Shayna Baszler, man. We saw Matt Riddle. We saw Limitless Keith Lee. So much different talents that showed up there. I know you didn't get a chance to watch it, Indy Mike, but I do know that you're an independent wrestling fan, and a lot of these talents. You've probably followed a long time. So what were you thinking about seeing these guys? Think about it. Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, seeing these names. Adam Cole, who I've met a couple times on Fox television, and being featured so prominently. Indy Mike, what do you think, bro?
I've seen bits and pieces of what went down on Friday. I saw the big group get together where Triple H was hyping up the whole Survivor Series thing.
Sure.
I saw that video. I've seen pictures of what went down on Friday. It's crazy seeing guys like Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Tommaso Ciampa, all those guys inside of a SmackDown ring on a Friday night. It made me so happy, especially knowing that Adam Cole went up against Daniel Bryan for the NXT title.
Yes.
And won.
Yes,
Clean.
and won the match.
On frickin' SmackDown. It's crazy. Keith Lee's one of those guys. Let me touch on him a little bit.
Please go.
I first heard of Keith Lee about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. It was back when him and Shane Taylor were doing the Pretty Boy Killers tag team.
I remember that tag team.
And they were at Ring of Honor over at the fairgrounds, and I went, and I was there. It wasn't on the card, but it was a tag match that happened.
It was pre-show,
yeah. And seeing Keith Lee on NXT now, just watching him grow over the years and become who he is now, it's just been amazing. And seeing him in a SmackDown ring.
On Fox.
On Fox. That's basic freaking, that's rabbit ears, dude. That's just freaking rabbit ears, man.
Yeah, bro.
That's anybody can watch Fox. Well, I can't say anybody can watch Fox. I think it's DirecTV that let out Fox, but my condolences to them, but whatever. Or Dish Network or some shit, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's on Fox. You're seeing guys that I've seen for years, like Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole, Roderick Strong. God, who else was in that ring? Shane Strickland. Oh my God.
Yeah, Shane Strickland was there, bro.
Yeah, I keep forgetting Shane Strickland was there. Someone who I never thought would make it to the WWE. And
it's nuts.
Showing in a SmackDown ring. And it was just amazing. I need to go back and watch that whole show. I like seeing what they're going to be doing with it, with the whole SmackDown and Raw versus NXT. I love it. I'm there for it, man. I'm there for all of it, dude.
No doubt,
Absolutely.
Bro. No doubt. It was a great night. I mean, it was a night that saw Tommaso Ciampa get a clean win over The Miz. I mean, I just love. There's a lot of moving parts in the WWE and stuff that I don't like, but to keep it pure and wrestling related, to see those guys like The Miz and Daniel Bryan who don't have to put they don't have to put guys over, but they did last night or Friday night, that is, and it was great, and I really loved seeing it. So I guess my question is for Kace, who isn't a huge avid wrestling fan but kind of dabbles. If you were choosing one that you would watch, man, would you tune into the familiarity of the WWE, or would you see what's going on with AEW as a new thing? What do you think?
Anytime I jump back into wrestling, I always see what's going on Monday Night Raw. That was always my thing.
Sure, yeah.
Monday Night Raw always had some of the best talent on there. That was my shit.
Oh yeah, so you would go back and check out Monday Night Raw and see what's going on?
Definitely. I've always been a Raw guy.
So what would you ever consider checking out AEW on Wednesday nights just to fuck around with the fuck around?
Oh yeah, just see what's up.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, it's good, bro. It's good, and it's how wrestling in 2019 should look, I think. But with you being, if you were going to jump back into the wrestling thing, and you being a hip hop artist, which being a hip hop artist is kind of like you got to be on the cutting edge of things. You know what I mean? Like you got to be the hip guy, the cool guy. Like it's you got to just be a vibe. So like if you were jumping back in, I would definitely recommend probably giving AEW a view.
All right, you said Wednesdays at what time?
Wednesdays at 8:00 on TNT.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, definitely give it a shot. Give it a shot. And to touch on AEW a little bit, Hutch, man, not only did they beat NXT again in the ratings, but they put on a really good show, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it was another fun show. I mean, they one thing that's good that AEW is doing to me, they're booking heat.
Yeah.
They're booking heat on their bad guys. That like their heels, like you want to see them get their ass kicked. Like Jericho, I mean, as an example of that, it's you want to see him get his ass beat.
What, holy shit!
He's still going, bro. He's still going.
What Jake Hagar did to Dustin Rhodes. With bouncing his head off the side of the car and all that stuff. Like that was good shit. And it was just AEW is an easy watch, and Wednesday night still is wrestling night to me, man. Like,
would you compare it to the Attitude Era?
No. And you know what, man? Everybody talks. That's a good question.
That's a great question.
It's a damn good question, because in some ways you could say yes, because there are two wrestling companies. You actually have what is starting to be a viable alternative.
Yeah.
But when you say the Attitude Era, that really encapsulates a lot of things.
Sure.
Like risque storylines and that nature and stuff like that. And yeah, I think we're going to have that. Yeah. But the stuff that they did in the Attitude Era would not fly today. Again, go back. I mean, let's face it. I mean, again, here's another example, and you can call this maybe to do a little callback on the aforementioned racist subject. We all remember when DX come out doing an imitation of the Nation of Domination, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did X-Pac not have blackface?
Oh,
did. Yep.
Wow.
They're not gonna bring that back up.
I mean, let's not forget about that. So, and granted, looking back on that, did I think that was funny at the time? Absolutely, I did. And and I didn't look at it from that lens. When I saw that, like I didn't see it as in, oh man, Xbox being disrespectful towards black people. Like I didn't see it like that. I see it as like, oh, this is just satire on the Nation of Domination themselves. Yeah. And I think that, and I hope that that's what they were going for when they presented it.
I'm sure they were, because the people who did it, they don't have a history of racism like Vince does.
Right. Exactly. So, but again, I don't want to get off subject. Go back to AEW though. Like again, it was a great show, and the ratings, you really can't take them as serious, because I do believe the World Series, or there was some other sports ball related stuff going on.
It was Game 7, yeah. Game 7 of the World Series, yeah.
So, yeah, even that being said, those are still really good numbers. And what it's going to boil down to is, once the World Series is over and all that stuff, and once all these outside factors are not affecting the ratings, that's when AEW is going to need to go back over 1 million. And what I think AEW is lacking, and I think they'll get there, because, again, they're a young, up-and-coming company still, even though, they got this TV deal and all that. They need that one major big star, that big storyline that's going to pull people over to them. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And, I don't want to say they're Rock or they're Stone Cold, but as you said, you want to compare it to the Attitude Era. That's what, if they're going to borrow anything from the Attitude Era, it's that. They need those stars that have that magnetic charisma that's going to draw in the casual fan to their show, those wayward wrestling fans that we talk about on here all the time.
Yeah.
That, because wrestling was doing 8 to 10 million people back in the Attitude Era back
Yep.
then.
Oh man, so many.
And now we're lucky to get a 2. We're
Yeah.
talking 2 like it's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
TNA was pulling 2 million people back in the day.
Man.
So I mean, the numbers are steadily declining, and it kind of makes you wonder. In the short term, people talk about, we've even said, a wrestling boom's coming. It is. I mean, if it is, it's not really here yet. The ingredients for it to be are here.
For
It's
sure.
it just needs to spark. You know what I mean? It just needs
Yes.
that
Gotcha.
something.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It just needs that something. But again, AEW, as long as they do not deviate from their path, they're going to get it, and they just need to keep doing what they're doing because it's money.
Oh man, yes, I agree with that. So Indy Mike, what are you thinking, man? As far as, and I really want to touch on this. More, of course, some on the ratings, but just the hip and coolness of professional wrestling as it is now starting to rage back in. It's starting to come back in slowly but surely. We're getting there. Where are you at on this Wednesday Night War, man?
AEW is the best product going on in the business today.
I agree. Yep.
Hands down. At least for the mainstream. I am fully on board with everything that AEW is doing. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I record because I get off at 8:30, 45-minute drive home. So I record AEW so I can watch it start when I get home. And then I'm just like, man, I'll watch NXT on the network later in the week. So
Yeah.
But AEW is the best thing going. It definitely feels like WCW revamped, which I was hoping it would. Not a week goes by where I'm not super sucked in. And to touch on what you guys said, yeah, we definitely need those big characters, those big those larger than life personalities.
Yes.
That we had back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s. During all those times. And we're getting there. When you've got guys like John Moxley and Chris Jericho, names that are already established names, names that your casual fan who doesn't know what's going on with AEW, they can tune in every week and be like, oh, hey, that's who used to be Dean Ambrose. That's Chris Jericho. That's the former Adrian Neville over there. That's Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
And so on and so forth. Yeah. And then you've got these names that those of us that do happen to know more about the independent scene with these guys that have come up to what is now a legitimate mainstream company. And let's all face it, AEW is not the indies. AEW is a legitimate mainstream company right up there on par with WWE.
Yeah.
When you've got guys like the Young Bucks, and you've got Adam Page, and you've got MJF, who I've stated before, and I stated the last time you guys had me on, MJF is going to be one of the top 3 top 5 heels in the business within the next 3 years.
No debate.
And he's on track to doing that. I love what they're doing with him, with this whole partnering up with Cody Rhodes and trying to be his best friend. Eventually, it's going to wind up he's going to turn on Cody, and it's going to push his name up to being a bigger star. And then they focus on tag team wrestling. That's another thing that I love. That whole entire show on Wednesday was so good. Moxley's promo was nasty. The tag title match was good. The Bucks were good. Orange Cassidy is freaking disgusting and violent and brutal. And
yes, just man.
There needs to be a parental discretion advised warning at before every show when Orange Cassidy is on that show. I cringe when I watch in fear when I see Orange Cassidy, and not many wrestlers can do that for me. It was just a great show, and the fact that they're killing it every week in the ratings, Doesn't surprise me in the least. I mean, it's quality. It's quality product. Tony Khan has a heart for the business. Cody, it's in his blood. The Bucks know what they're doing. Kenny Omega, in my mind, is still the greatest wrestler in the world today. It's just phenomenal. When you guys last had me on, it was before AEW had really started. I mean, they were doing their once a month or every other month, whatever, events and everything, but the TV tapings hadn't started yet. Here we are. We're 5 or 6 weeks in the TV shows.
Yeah,
and it's everything that we thought it would be.
I agree.
And then some.
It's been really good.
Yeah,
man.
Doesn't surprise me in the least that they're beating out NXT in the ratings. I mean, NXT's got some great stuff going on. They got a lot of great talent, but AEW, it's so good, and they're doing everything right. So,
I agree with that. And man, this has been a heavy pod with a lot of content that we've covered, but I think we've done a good job of kind of catching everybody up. And once again, when you guys listen to this out there in the household, the 20,000 following on Facebook in the 14 different countries across these great United States and locally right here in Indiana, you guys are going to be listening to this at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. So put in your house, in your ears, as you're driving the kids to school, or maybe you're just driving to work. We're here to give you all your needs and when it comes to the professional wrestling business, and I think we've properly done that as far as giving our opinions and thoughts on a few different things that were pressing, things that we haven't had a chance to get to because we've had such great interviews, and I wouldn't change that because those interviews have been great. But this whole episode was great, man. So now it's time, and I'll start with Indy Mike here to plug anything that you want to plug, man. Any podcast that you have coming up or your social medias or anything, man. Just go ahead and throw it out there. So plug away, my friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah. For those of you that remember me from the Bizarre Lucha Endless Waltz episode, my name is Indy Mikey. I am the host of the Squared Circle City Show. One of these days, I'm going to get my own fucking podcast name out there properly. I promise you I will. I host the Squared Circle City Show. You can find me on Spotify, Google and Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, frickin' Anchor, whatever the hell else I'm on. It's been a little bit of a while, but please believe I'm a sleeping giant, man. Only thing that I really want to plug, find me on those for the podcast. Listen to all my old episodes. Keep in tune for what might be coming out here soon. Follow me on Facebook at the Squared Circle City Show, Instagram and Twitter at IndyMikey317. Things have been a little bit on the back burner since I've finally moved back home to Anderson, but things that I want to plug. Baby's going to be here next week, so I'm excited for that.
Congratulations.
No, this week. Today's Sunday. Baby's going to be here this week. I'm very excited for him to get here. Anybody that has listened to my podcast and has listened to yours that knows my stuff, knows that I've talked about my son, he'll be here this week. Zach and Epstein did not kill himself, so.
Amen,
Facts,
brother.
Facts. He sure as shit did, man. He sure as shit did, man. But man, congratulations on the baby being on the way. Thanks for taking out your time to come and talk to us about wrestling, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome. And now it's time for our resident hip-hop artist, the man, Cayne, to plug anything that you want to plug. Upcoming appearances, we already touched a little bit on it, but go ahead and hit him with it again because we want to make sure our listening audience knows where they can catch you at, where they can hear you at, and how they can follow everything that you're doing. Go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Good Lord. Once again, like the man said, it is Cayne, and I will be performing live in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Citadel November 15th. The show starts at 7. The tickets are $12, and I'm throwing deals if you see me personally. But if not, go to myafton.com/Cayne. Get your tickets, man. It's going to be lit. You can follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, SoundCloud. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, motherfucking LinkedIn, niggas, like all sorts of good stuff.
He's everywhere. Check him out, y'all. He's out there putting out quality music, y'all. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and man, I want to thank you for taking out your time to come out and talk a little bit of wrestling, man, and definitely everybody needs to check out your music, man. You got some quality, you got some quality stuff out there. I've had a chance to hit shuffle and check it out and follow you on Spotify, man. It's good shit, man. So thanks for taking out your time, bro.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, no problem at all. And Hutch, you know what time it is, man. Do your thing, plug it, bro.
Well, I don't know how I can follow that amazing promo, but I'm gonna.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was fire. I almost dropped my phone. Yeah, you guys can follow me on the Twitter. That next tweet hasn't happened yet, but it's going to be a doozy when it does. It's going to be awesome when it does. Oh, for real, it's going to be amazing. So give me a follow on the Twitter to see what that tweet's going to be, and you can do that at Hutch IYH. You can also follow me on the Instagram as well, and that's at Hutch in your house, and that's spelled just like the name of the show that's going in your ear holes right now. And you know what we always say here, regardless of what you cheer or what you boo, be it WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, DCCW, FC didn't kill himself. We are Legion. We are one. We'll catch you next time. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great week.
We are one. One of the great slogans of the show from our man Mikey Hutch. And man, this was a heavy episode, most definitely. And we love to give it to you because you know what we do. We get out work. So, hey, yo, let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's all right. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, we can get to you. Check us out. November 20th, AEW is coming to the Coliseum in Indianapolis, Indiana, and your house is in the building. Check it out. November 30th, Thanksgiving Thunder. We are back in the building for another great show at Mad Jackson, Muncie, Indiana for DCCW. Catch your boys on commentary. Guys, what are you doing? Buy a freaking shirt. That's www.prowrestlingtees.com/inyourhouse. Get this work. Get this shirt. And guys, we tell you this all the time. Hop on this bandwagon. Get on or get gone. Cause the household, well, we going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.